Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Sawyer Center on the campus of Southern Nazarene University. SNU basketball is on the air this afternoon. The Crimson Storm coming off a pair of big wins against Henderson State. On Thursday night, will look to take down the Ouachita Baptist Tigers and move their record to each 10-4 in conference play. Hi, everyone. Luke McConnell here at the Sawyer Center alongside Reed Roloffs. Thanks for joining us today here on the SNU Athletics YouTube channel and on Crossover Radio Sports. And Reed, obviously a couple of big wins for the Crimson Storm on Thursday night. We will start with the women's game. Huge bounce-back performance against the Reddies after a tough couple losses on the road to Monticello and Southern Arkansas. Overtime win, and with the Crimson Storm down 6 with about 2 minutes to play, they really dug deep to force overtime.
Yeah, really impressive win for SNU. They were, as you said, in a little bit of a hole with about a minute and a half left, and they were able to push through, send it to overtime, and then really secure the game there. It was a really impressive win.
On the men's side, they bounced back from a close loss to Southern Arkansas last Saturday and got the win over the Reddies, who had beaten the Crimson Storm by 19 on the road. And Reed, it was a really awesome night as Jonathan Dunn became the all-time career scoring leader in SNU history.
Yeah, really special night, not only for the Storm, but for Dunn himself. Not a lot of players can say they scored over 2,000 points, and he set the record here for most points for SNU, and really, really impressive player, and just a great opportunity to see him up close and really see how talented he is.
We'll start with the women's game, first up in our doubleheader this afternoon, and last time out in Arkadelphia back on January the 2nd, it was the Crimson Storm coming out on top. 72-45 was the win over the Tigers. Crimson Storm shot 55% from the field while holding the Tigers to 27% from the field. And just 5 of 23 in the second half. SNU dominated in the paint by a tune of 46-14. And Reed, we've seen that the past 2 games as well. Even in the loss to Southern Arkansas, SNU 44 points in the paint, and they had 52 on Thursday night against Henderson State.
Yeah, that's right. They are very good at getting inside and getting the ball inside and finishing. They've done a great job of getting their posts involved, Nihus and Miriam Garcia, and they've done a great job finishing in there, so let's look for them to continue attacking the paint today.
Garcia will be getting the start once again today. It'll be her 3rd straight start. And the past 2 starts have resulted in 21 points in each of those contests. She also had 11 rebounds in the loss to Southern Arkansas, 6 rebounds on Thursday against Henderson State. And Reed, she is quite the expert in footwork, if you say. Not a lot of posts have tremendous footwork nowadays, but she certainly has it and puts on a show whenever she gets the ball down on the block.
Yeah, she's really impressive down there, and you can see that her patience is really paying off, and she's seeing what the defenders are giving her, and she just seems like she's one step ahead in every single move she does, so it's really fun to watch her down there.
The opponent today, the Ouachita Baptist Tigers, certainly not one of the better teams in the conference record-wise. 4-15 coming in. They're 1-12 in conference play. They've lost 7 in a row since their lone conference win over Oklahoma Baptist back on January 4th. Oklahoma Baptist getting their first conference win on Thursday night against the Tigers out in Shawnee. But the Tigers, just 8 players on the roster, and they bring just 7 here to Bethany, as senior Madison Britton has been out with an injury since January 16th against Henderson State, which has forced Laura Spradlin, who comes in averaging just 7.3 minutes per game, to play a lot more over the past few games. She had a season-high 18 minutes against the Bison on Thursday night. But this team, very disciplined. They play smart. You don't see, even with a lack of depth, you don't see this team having a bunch of foul outs or anything like that, and they actually come in averaging more free throw attempts per game than their opponents. And they've had 17 made free throws each of the past 2 games. And they've only allowed 4 opponents to shoot over 40% from the field this season. So certainly a feisty bunch, even though they'll only trot out 7 players today. And Reed, obviously just a tough situation for the Tigers. But again, like we've said, they play hard and they play smart, and they won't roll over for anyone, including the Crimson Storm here today.
Yeah, they're going to come in and try to knock off SNU today, as they're going to try to do that to every team. But they're going to play hard, and really we'll see where the energy is on both sides of the ball. You never want to come out and have a letdown energy-wise. So both teams are going to come out hard, and should be a good game today.
And Reed, going along with that, obviously a very emotional win for SNU on Saturday, getting the game to overtime and then dominating the overtime period against the Reddies. How important is that to avoid a letdown, and what are the keys to avoiding a letdown after such an emotional game?
Yeah, I don't think you can overlook this team. You know, they have a poor conference record, and they've had a tough year this year, but that just means they want to come out and they want to beat anybody they can play against. So they're going to be coming with energy, and I expect them to come out hard. And you just really, after an emotional win, you never want to have a letdown like you said. So we'll see how both teams come out, and it should be a great game.
We talked to head coach Tripp May earlier today about this afternoon's game against the Tigers, and we will hear from him now to get you all set for this afternoon's game. So this is SNU head coach Tripp May talking about SNU's matchup with the Tigers. Joined now by SNU head coach Tripp May, talking about this afternoon's game against Ouachita Baptist. And Coach, you've had your best rebounding performances against the top rebounding teams in the conference this season. Is that just coincidence, or that a sign of a team really focused in on the scout?
We're trying to get better at every little detail that's possible. I know that's a lot because there's so many details, but rebounding's one. I think there's a lot of influences on the game when you're able to control the boards. It didn't feel like it on Thursday night. Felt like every time they got an offensive rebound, they made us pay, and so those kind of just seemed to double up. And so we just got to make sure that we do. We talk about it, we preach on it, we work on it. And so our girls have done a good job, most of the time, of just making sure that we secure the boards. And I always say that's an exclamation point to defense. There's so many things you want to do defensively. You do all those things. They miss a shot, man. That's your opportunity. That's the cherry on top. Exclamation point. The chance to get you to play offense and get you off the defensive end. And so, I try to encourage the girls that you should want to rebound because there's not many players these days that are admitting to loving to play defense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just 10 3-pointers made the last 3 games. Do you feel a need to counter what defenses are doing, or do you think that's going to naturally happen as you continue to pound the paint?
Well, I think, it's a great question because you want it to happen naturally, and if it doesn't, you want to manufacture it. But at the same time, we've got a lot of point paints lately, and so if you're really going to defend the perimeter, that's fine. We'll throw it. We got 2 really really good post players, and so we can just throw it in the paint and let them go to work. And sometimes it's that in and out game that makes a big difference. So we throw inside, they come and they double. We should have wide open looks on the outside. One of the things we need to do a better job is moving the ball quicker to open man, and timing on that's important. If I'm open as a shooter, I want the ball in my hands, not every second or every inch the defense closes in, it takes away that opportunity for a quick shot. And so we just got to do a better job finding the open man and sooner.
Have you noticed defenses changing a little bit with you guys on the perimeter, or has it just been a byproduct of you getting in the paint more?
Yeah, I think it's maybe a little bit of both. One, JC's done a great job of shooting, and they're not giving, she's not getting any open looks. And so, we talk about that. It's like if she's really guarded and they're really defending her, well, think about the other 4 people on the floor. They all can't be. There's not. Team doesn't have 5 good defenders. They just don't. They might have a good team defense, which I think we do, but there's not 5 really locked down defenders. And so the other people got to take the stand and make sure that they're finding ways to get open as well.
Nefer and Cassandra were really good on Thursday night and poised. What have they been doing in practice to get to that point?
It's amazing. You never know when basketball maturity is going to rear its head. And although you can work and work and work, it doesn't mean it's going to instantly appear. For some players, it does. For these two specifically, it's taken a little while, and it just there's a lot of growth, and basketball's a long season, so there's. You feel like sometimes you have the ability to really groom players as they come along, and you just never know when they're going to be needed, and so it's just one of those things when you look at your bench, if there's not a clear cut personnel that's coming off and doing a consistent job, then you got to keep searching, and so that's what we've been doing. We just in practice we're always evaluating, and I think players lose sight of that sometimes, and it's just because you walk in the gym and you kind of do the same things. It's almost like coach isn't paying attention, and we're constantly coaching and constantly paying attention, and my evaluation as a coach, the antenna never shuts off, and so when you start seeing some good things, you kind of start seeing some of this, and sometimes it's just small little microcosms of maturity that just that rise up, and some can go the other way. But for those two, it's really they're really working hard and really find that the desire of going, man, if they just do the little things, sometimes that can make a big difference and get you on the court.
I might have asked you this before, but what's your balance of giving younger players live game reps versus making them kind of earn those in practice?
Well, I think I just really think everybody in practice, if they're going to get the ability to play, they're going to earn it. Mm-hmm. So I think that's an earned thing automatically, because it's like a player once told me, hey coach, I deserve to play because I work hard. If you didn't work hard, you wouldn't be here. We wouldn't allow it. And so I think everybody, if they get to come on the floor, it's because they've earned it in practice. But the freedom in which to do that, and it's always, I myself have heard many coaches talk about it's a feel of the game. It's a trust thing, and you're going to play players that you trust. I think you go with starters sometimes that are those are the players that you feel like are going to that give you the best chance to have the most success during the game. Obviously, you have a bench support as well, and then who do you bring off the bench, and when do you bring them off the bench, and do you always have the right combination of starters? And so those are things you're looking at day one in the season. And so now you're at this point, and it's just you got to find those players that okay, man. Sometimes you go, maybe comfortable or not, I got to give them a little chance to help our bench and to give them those, like you said, the live game reps, so that they can get the more experience and they can get more comfortable with that.
With 2 games against each team, do you use individual stats in each game as reference points? For example, you guys had 18 turnovers against Ouachita the first game. Do you point to that and say, at worst, let's improve on our 18 turnovers?
No, that's a great point, and we talked about that from our game on Thursday night versus Henderson, and then just what individual players did against us, what our players did against them, and just kind of like the overall, like, hey, this person really hurt us on the boards last game. We can't allow her to get going again, kind of thing. And so we talk about past game stats, whether it be team or individual stuff, and we try not to focus on the negative. If one of our players didn't play well, we're really not going to point that out. It's just but if they did a good job, like, hey, you did a good job doing this last time, let's see if we can maximize and capitalize off that again.
You win today against Ouachita if.
It's just we got to play every team. I know they're down personnel wise. They're going to suit up 7 girls. And that's it's. I think sometimes such a emotional, tough game on Thursday. Today can't be a letdown. It's not. One of the things that I preach is that we're not playing a specific team today. We're playing the entire conference. Every time we step on the floor, we're playing the entire conference, because because it matters. There's conference implications every time you take the floor, and whether you're on the left side of the win column or the other side of the loss column, it's absolutely magnified, and it's definitely you're playing against everyone in conference. So this is a conference game, and we're against everybody, and they're against us, and so that's who we're playing today, is the conference.
Coach, thanks for your time, and best of luck against the Tigers. That's SNU head coach Tripp May breaking down today's game against Ouachita Baptist for us, and we'll go through the starting lineups here for both teams. First up for the visiting Tigers of Ouachita Baptist, number 5, junior guard Maya Gertzen, 10th in the conference in scoring at 13 points per game, also averages 2.7 assists per game. She's 6th in the conference in free throw percentage at 82%. Number 10, sophomore guard Jessie Bennett, actually at Ouachita for cross country, but has come onto the basketball team as well. 7.4 points per game, 4.1 points per game, 2.6 rebounds per game. Number 13, Michaela Miller, 7.4 points per game and 3.7 assists per game. Number 22, junior forward Eden Crow, 11.5 points per game. She's 8th in the conference in rebounding at 7.5 per game. And in the middle, number 32, junior forward Jakaya Clay, 9 points per game, 5.3 rebounds per game. She did not play against SNU out in Arkadelphia. For the Crimson Storm, Miriam Garcia remains in the starting, third in the conference in three-point shooting at 45.6%. We'll step aside, and when we come back, we will have the opening tip between Ouachita Baptist and Southern Nazarene. This is SNU Basketball presented by Crossover Radio Sports and the SNU Video Network. Welcome back to the Sawyer Center. Starting lines for both teams being introduced right now on the court. And Reed, as we get set for this one, what are you looking for from the Crimson Storm today?
Yeah, I think the offense is going to come, but I think the defense is the main goal for them. I want them to come out and play team defense together, and I think if they do that, they got a great chance to win the game.
A couple of key matchups across the conference today. Henderson State in Shawnee taking on Oklahoma Baptist. Arkansas Monticello in Weatherford taking on Southwestern. Arkansas Tech down the road in Durant taking on Southeastern. And Reed, if a couple things go right today, the Crimson Storm could, with wins, could find themselves on top of both conference standings after 14 games. So big opportunity here and needing some things to go right across the conference. Harding is in Ada taking on East Central, and Southern Arkansas out in Alva taking on Northwestern. Just a reminder of the conference standings here for the women's side. Southeastern comes in number 1, 10-3, but they've lost 2 straight on the road at Henderson State. And then Thursday night, Harding getting the win. It was their 5th straight win, and Harding has catapulted up the standings into a tie for second at 9-4 with Arkansas Tech and SNU. Monticello, Henderson State, and Southwestern a game behind at 8-5. Southern Arkansas by themselves at 7-6, and Northwestern in that dreaded 9th spot at 6-7. So everyone within 4 games, 1-9, and that gap could close today as Southeastern facing a hot Arkansas Tech team who has won 4 consecutive games. So a lot riding on today. Of course, a lot of basketball still to be played, and Reed, like we mentioned off the air, SNU on the road for 5 of the next 6 games. The lone home game in that stretch, a clash with Southwestern here at the Sawyer Center in 2 weeks. So this is the last opportunity for SNU to really make a statement at home for quite some time. So it's important for the Crimson Storm to get out of here with a pair of wins today. Thanks for joining us here on Crossover Radio Sports and the SNU Athletics YouTube channel. Proud to bring you SNU basketball home and away all season long here on these platforms. Miriam Garcia and Eden Crow set to jump center, and it's Garcia winning the tip to J.C. Soap, and we are underway at the Sawyer Center. Alexis Jones holding on the left wing against Gertson, uses a screen from Garcia, and a moving pick is going to be called on Garcia right out of the gates. So Mimi Garcia picking up her first foul 10 seconds into this one. Gertson gets it into Miller in the backcourt, and the freshman from Little Rock, Arkansas will work it up the court. Gertson holding between the circles. Now over to Miller on the left wing. Back out to Miller, trying to work on Sarda. Gertson gets into the paint, leaves it off for Bennett. Now Crow with it, and has that one poked away by Sarda. She comes up with the steal. Numbers back for Ouachita. Sarda kicks it to Soap in front of the Ouachita bench. Guarded tightly by Jesse Bennett. Now Garcia gives it back to Soap. Finds a cutting Gillette at the elbow. Picks up her dribble. Soap swings it around to Jones. Down low to Garcia. Steps through. Crow with the double team. Deflected that one away to Miller. Tigers on the run. Bennett in the corner fires up a quick three-pointer. Hit the side of the backboard. And Gillette has the miss. Jones behind the Garcia pick. Now Gillette with it. Picks up her dribble at the left elbow. Finds the cutting Sardic. Trying to get down low. Unable to do so. Fires it back out to Soap. But a foul is going to be called underneath as, I believe, Eden Crow. A little bit too tight there on Sarda. Knocked her down on the pass. So 1 on Crow, 1 on Garcia, 1 on each team. 8:34 to go first quarter. We're scoreless here in Bethany. Gillette, wide open 15-foot jumper is long. Garcia, offensive rebound. Triple team, finds Sarda off the glass, too strong, and Clay has the rebound. Miller not a three-point shooter. She's just 2 of 6 this season. Sarda giving her plenty of space here at the top of the key. Now Crow on the right wing. Clay crosses over on Garcia, finds Miller on the baseline, gives it back to Clay. Gets Garcia on the pump fake, drives in, and left the left-hand layup short. Garcia with her second rebound. A foul underneath is going to be called on Gertson, battling with Alexis Jones for a position on the block. Second on the Tigers. Sarda gets the inbound on the baseline, but cut off nicely by Bennett. Dumps it down low to Garcia, crowded by Crow. Finds Sarda on the baseline, and a nice reverse layup by Sonia Sarda. Breaks the lid on both baskets. 7:40 to play first quarter. SNU leads 2-0. Gertzen holding between the circles against Alexis Jones. Drives all the way to the bucket, scoops it under Garcia somehow, and lays it in. Nice move there by Maya Gertzen. She had 25 points against Oklahoma Baptist on Thursday as Garcia gets in deep, and a nice feed from J.C. Soap. SNU back on top 4-2. Crow spins in the lane, nice pump fake, blocked by Garcia partially, it left it short, and Jones coming the other way for SNU. Shut up by Gertzen, hands it to Sarda, she goes baseline and lays it in. Nice tightrope routine along the sideline by Sonia Sarda to stay in bounds. And Robert Dallimore calling an early timeout for Ouachita Baptist. It'll be a full timeout, so we'll take it too. 6:44 to go first quarter. SNU leading 6-2 over the Tigers. We'll be right back after this.
So always spin and then come back to the right.
Welcome back to Bethany. SNU leading 6-2. 3 minutes and change gone by here in the first quarter. And Reed again, SNU getting inside early. All 6 points coming in the paint. 4 of them courtesy of Sonia Sarda, coming off a rough showing against Henderson State. 11 points, 5 turnovers. She just was 5 for 14 from the field on Thursday night.
Yeah, she's had a nice game early on, but the thing I'm like to see the most is they had 3 baskets and 3 assists off those baskets, so look for them to continue moving the ball around.
Miller works the ball up against zero pressure. Hard screen from Crow. Miller double teamed, hits the diving Crow, who gives it back to Miller. Miller will work it back out to the perimeter. Looking for help, and now an offensive foul is going to be called on Crow. It's going to be her second foul already. 3rd team foul on the Tigers. Laura Spradlin's into the game for the first time for Jakaya Clay. J.C. Soap wide open right wing for 3, and she rattles it in. J.C. Soap 9 points against Henderson State. Is 2 of 8 from the field. She knocks down her first shot of the game. Crow pull up over Gillette, splashes home, and Crow responds with her first basket of the game. 9-4 SNU. 5 minutes and 50 seconds to go. Sonia Sarda nearly lost the dribble in the paint, but got it back and laid it in again. 6 points early for Sarda, and SNU leads 11-4, 5:40 to go first quarter. Abby Nihus into the game for Garcia as well for the Crimson Storm. Crow spins away from Gillette, missed the shot, and rebound deflects out of bounds off of Crow. So SNU basketball with 5:30 to play in the quarter.
Looks like Ouachita is running a 2-3 zone, but if I'm SNU, I'm still looking to get the ball inside and maybe get Crow's 3rd foul of the game.
Ouachita has not run zone much despite the obvious shortcomings in depth. Sarda missed the shot there. Rebound fought for, tipped out of bounds by Sarda. And Clay will check back in, and Crow will take a seat on the bench. Miller will work it up against Sarda. Bennett looking to post up Clay on Gillette, unable to do so. Spradlin lost the ball, but gets it back. Now Gertzen with Jones on her. Finds the cutting Jesse Bennett and blocked out of bounds by Nihus. A little bit of a size mismatch there as Bennett, the 5'3" sophomore guard, tried to get inside of the 6'2" Nihus, and, well, it went about as well as expected. 10 on the shot clock for Miller as she tries to get it in, sends it up top to Spradlin, and it deflects off of her out of bounds, unable to handle that pass. So a turnover for the Tigers, their third. SNU with the ball in possession. Gillette drives in, stops, pops in the middle of the lane, left it short. Offensive rebound, Soap. Smartly kept the dribble alive as she went to the floor. Now Gillette and Miller battling for it. And a jump ball is called, and it will be Ouachita basketball. You heard Coach Tripp May in the postgame on Thursday talking about how excited he was to see his team getting on the floor and making hustle plays, especially in overtime, and we've seen that quite a bit over the past couple weeks for the Crimson Storm. Gertzen dumps it down low to Clay, and she is fouled and will go to the line for two. Excellent lob over the top from Maya Gertzen. And Jakaya Clay, 50% foul shooter this season, will go to the line for 2 free throws. First one's up and good for Clay. One more coming for the junior from Marion, Arkansas. Again, did not play in the first matchup between these two teams, and averaging just 4.5 points per game in those 4 games back, or in her 5 games back, since missing the first 4 games of January. Gillette will check out. Julia Schwacke back in. As Clay hits both free throws, SNU leads 11-6. 4:16 to go here in the first quarter. And that last foul was on Abby Nihus, not Gillette. Soap on the left wing, crowded by Bennett. Now Sarda trying to drive on Miller, who pokes it away from Sarda and goes out of bounds. It'll stay here with the Crimson Storm with 12 on the shot clock. Sideline out of bounds here below us. Soap gets it into Jones. Checked by Gertzen. Now Soap goes behind the Nihus pick. Hits Nihus on the roll. And it's going to be an offensive foul on Abby Nihus as officials check to confirm with each other. As Jakaya Clay stepped over and took the charge. Second foul on Nihus. And Garcia quickly off the bench to replace her. SNU has a foul in the backcourt going to go on JC Soap. It's going to be her team's fourth, her first. SNU continues to extend a little bit of full court pressure here against the Tigers. One thing Coach May said SNU couldn't do is get in foul trouble early. So far, have not heeded those words. Clay behind the Spradlin pick, loops it around Garcia, but she was fouled. She'll go to the line for 2. And that is going to be on Garcia, and that is going to be her second. So both posts with 2 fouls. And SNU without Massey Beard this afternoon as well, as she's over on the bench in street clothes. Clay hits the first free throw. And one more coming for Clay. She hits them both. 4 for 4 from the line today is Clay. Ouachita comes down in a 2-3 zone here. 11-8 Crimson Storm lead, but have not scored in the last 2.5 minutes. Sarda, top of the key with it. Gets into the paint, harassed, and it's stolen. Ripped away by Miller, and Bennett coming the other way with it. Bennett shut off by Jones, who's crowded, pokes it away out of bounds. They'll stay with the Tigers with 22 on the shot clock, 3:04 on the first quarter clock. Miller getting instructions from the bench. She'll drift to the right wing and set things up. Finds Clay, top of the key. Tried to hit Gertson on the cut, but Jones knocks it out of bounds. Looked like Gertson kind of broke off the route. It'll be Tiger basketball with now 8 on the shot clock. Bennett fires it into Miller. 5. Stuck against Sarda. Spradlin's going to have to fire one up. Missed everything. The shot clock was winding down. Unenviable position for Spradlin there. Soap wide open on the left wing, and she hit it. Transition for the Crimson Storm proves to be the benefit there. As Soap knocks down her second three-pointer of the game, and the Crimson Storm breaks the scoreless drought and lead 14-8 with 2:15 to go before the end of the first quarter. Clay all the way to the bucket. Strong take, no good. And a foul on Spradlin going over the back of Julia Schwacke for the rebound. It'll be Spradlin's first. 4th team foul. Alexis Jones will check out. Cassandra Awatt checking in for the Crimson Storm. Awatt 6 points and 5 rebounds on Thursday night against Henderson State. It was her first game with more than 7 minutes played since the double overtime win over Central Oklahoma back on November 16th. Garcia finds a wide open Sarda, and a nice baseline cut by Sarda, and an excellent find from Garcia. She was double teamed in the paint. Miller, top of the key. Now Clay over on the left wing. Working on Schwacke. She's cut off, looking for help. Tried to force it into Miller. Sarda knocked it away. And now Soap coming the other way. Up ahead to Awatt, lost the basketball, and Gertson has it. 2-on-1 break, Gertson and Miller with Sarda back. It's Miller, missed the layup. Good challenge by Sarda. And Schwacke, long lead pass up ahead to Garcia, and she leaves it behind her for Sarda. Sarda dumps it down low to Garcia, working on Spradlin. Right-hand hook shot is short, and Clay has the miss. 1 minute to go, first quarter, 16-8, SNU leads. Shooting 58% from the field and 6 assists on their 7 made baskets. Clay with it, faces up, kicks out Gertson, three-pointer on the way, off the back iron, no good. And Schwacke with a nice box out for the rebound. 40 seconds to go in the quarter. Sarda behind the back dribble, leaves it for Schwacke. She'll tee up a 3 from the right wing, left it short. Garcia battling Bennett for the rebound. She's got it. They swing it back out. Around the perimeter, Soap wide open again, off the back iron, no good. Awatt tracks down the offensive rebound against Gertson. Gives it to Garcia, she was falling down. Kick back out to Soap, but Garcia traveled before she was able to get the pass away. With 19 seconds to go in the quarter, it will be Ouachita with the final shot of the possession. And seemingly all the posts in foul trouble. Eden Crow for Ouachita, and Abby Nehus and Miriam Garcia, each with 2 fouls here in the first quarter. Gertson driving kick to Bennett. Now Miller in the corner. 3 on the shot clock. 18-foot jumper is well over the rim, no good. And that's how the first quarter comes to an end here in Bethany. 16-8, the Crimson Storm leading the Tigers after 1. We'll be back with the start of the second quarter right after this here on Crossover Radio Sports and the SNU Athletics YouTube page. Welcome back to the Sawyer Center. SNU leads 16-8 after one quarter, and Reed, 6 turnovers for the Crimson Storm, but again finding their way in the paint, 8 points in the paint thus far.
Yeah, they've turned it over a little bit more than they probably would have wanted to, and Ouachita Baptist has done a good job of bringing energy, but they're shooting 50% from the field, so you've got to like that.
Just 2 of 12 for the Tigers thus far from the field. And J.C. Soap already 2 made 3-pointers. And Reed, we've seen the past few games, and you heard Coach May talk about it in the pregame sound, but just 10 combined 3-point makes over the past 3 games. SNU just 2 on Thursday night. So a little bit different emphasis on the offense and needing to adjust a little bit to what the defense is doing as well.
Yeah, Soap is their best shooter, and when she gets going, you just don't see her missing a lot of shots, so it's good to see her getting a couple great looks to start the game.
Crow with 2 fouls is back in for Ouachita. She swipes that one away from the freshman Awat out on the perimeter. A 7th turnover for the Crimson Storm here. Not even 30 seconds gone by in the second quarter. That pass deflected by Jones, but Gertson tracks it down and then lost it out of bounds. So a turnover back the other way. That's the Tigers' 5th of the half. Jones, Schwacke, Garcia, Soap, and Awat, the 5 out there right now for SNU. Awat checked by Crow. Goes behind the Garcia pick. Gets inside. Now posts out to Jones. Lost it. Gets it back. Off the glass. Too strong from Jones in the middle of the lane. And Spradlin has the rebound. Bennett. Now Spradlin out on the perimeter. Bennett looking for Clay inside. Unable to get it to her. She'll penetrate inside. Shut off in the lane by Soap. Now out to Crow on the left wing. 10 to shoot. Crow penetrating. Rises up over Awat and gets the shot to go. Eden Crow now with 4 points, and SNU leads 16-10. 8:40 to go here in the first half. Jones finds Soap on the left wing. Quickly posts up Garcia. Working on Spradlin. Steps through underneath her and scores. Miriam Garcia now with 4 points, to go along with 3 rebounds and a pair of assists. Kenny Gillette at the scores table, set to check in for the Crimson Storm. Crow holding top of the key. Working on the freshman Awat. Schwacke comes across, nearly rips it away. Crow finds Clay. Cutting in, all the way to the basket, missed the layup. Garcia with the challenge and the rebound as well. Jones cutting baseline, shut off there. Soap behind the Garcia pick, steps inside the 3-point line, missed the shot, and Clay with another rebound for the Tigers, her second. Bennett didn't like the look on posting up Crow. Instead bounces it over to Spradlin on the left wing. She'll hand to Clay. Clay has it ripped away by Awat, but a reach-in foul is going to go on Cassandra Awat. That'll be her first, and that'll be the first team foul of the quarter. Kenny Gillette will check in for Awat. Miller back in for Clay. Miller sends it up top to Bennett. Now Spradlin gives it back to Miller. Fires it to the right elbow to Crow. Pivoting, finds Gertson out on the right wing, and she knocks down the 3-pointer from there. Gertson's first 3-pointer of the game. She's got 5, and the lead is 5 for the Crimson Storm. So, working to get it to Alexis Jones, and Jones is going to be fouled, posting up Michaela Miller. First foul on Miller, first on the Tigers. Sarda checking back in for Schwacke. So the starters back out there for SNU. Jones gives it to Garcia on the baseline. Back out in the corner to Sarda. She reposts Garcia. Quick pivot across the lane, and a And an offensive foul is going to be called on Garcia for a hook with the elbow. That's going to be her third. Tripp May incredulous with the call as he's trying to get an explanation from the official. So Abby Nehu's back in. She's already got 2 fouls herself. So Garcia with 3 fouls, Nehu's with 2, and SNU's posts seem to be in a little bit of a world of hurt here. We'll see if it affects things. Gertzen stops and pops from the left elbow and scores. The lead down to 3 for the Crimson Storm as it's a quick 5-0 burst over the last 2 minutes for the Tigers. Sarda on the left wing. Trying to get it down low to Nehu's. Knocked out of bounds by Spradlin on the reach around. 15 on the shot clock, and SNU will inbound on the baseline. Reed, the Tigers feisty on both ends of the court right now, giving SNU problems. Nehu's manages to score through Spradlin with the left hand. A lot of contact there, but great hustle and work inside by Nehu's. The foul's going to be on Spradlin. That's going to be her second team foul on the Tigers, and Nehu's to the line to complete a 3-point play.
Yeah, great finish through contact for Nehu's, and she knows that she can't pick up her 3rd foul, and she went straight through contact and finished it.
Missed the free throw, though, so SNU leads by 5 still, 20-15. 6:10 to go before halftime. Miller finds Crow at the free throw line, guarded by Gillette. Goes through her, and a foul is going to be called. We'll see who they get here. It's going to go on Gillette. That's her first, and the 3rd team foul on SNU. Already 8 fouls in the game for the Crimson Storm. Crow at the line for 2, knocks down the first. 75% foul shooter this season. One more coming. Missed that one to the right, and Nehu's clears for SNU. Sarda behind the Nehu's pick, gets into the lane, floater over Gertzen, too strong, and Spradlin high for the rebound. Quick outlet to Miller, 2-on-1 break with Crow. She gives it up to her. Crow missed the left-handed layup, too strong, and Soap with the rebound. Sarda drives down to the baseline, shut down by Miller there. Now Soap top of the key, crowded by Bennett. Soap, the look away all the way to the basket. Right-hand layup is no good, but she'll go to the line for 2 as she was fouled by Crow. So that's going to be the third. So that's going to be the 3rd foul on Eden Crow now. Soap missed the first free throw long. 75.6% coming in. Number 2 in the conference and 3-point makes this season with 47. She splits the pair. And Clay back in for Crow. Tigers without Madison Britton here today. But Madison Rainey also has not played at all. And Sarda pokes that one away, and Gillette comes up with it, and Miller runs over Gillette, trying to track it down. Gillette comes up grimacing. It looks to be all right. 2nd on Miller, 4th on the Tigers. 5:15 to go before halftime. Gillette at the elbow, gets into the paint, stops, pops, and gets it to go. Thought about it for a second, but got the shot up in the middle of the paint in her first bucket of the game. Did not score in 30 minutes against Henderson State on Thursday. Clay crosses over on Gillette, goes through Nehus. A lot of contact there, no call either way. Gets her own rebound and sticks it back in. SNU fortunate there, as that easily could have been the third on Nehus. Also could have been an offensive foul on Clay. Jones with a wild acrobatic shot in the lane. Almost did the splits in the middle of the paint. It looked like she might have kicked Gertson in the head accidentally. Good thing this isn't soccer. She definitely would have gotten a card for a high kick. Clay all the way through Gillette once again, and she lays it in for two. Jakaya Clay with getting aggressive in the paint. The SNU lead is 5 once more, 25-20. And now an offensive foul is called on Nehus, backing down Laura Spradlin, and she's not really sure what happened. I'm not really sure what happened, but either way, it takes us to a timeout on the court. 3:53 to play. SNU leads 25-20. We'll come back and see what SNU's able to do in the post right after this. Welcome back to the Sawyer Center. Luke McConnell here alongside Reed Rollins for SNU and Ouachita Baptist. Crimson Stored lead 25-20 with 3:50 to play here in the first half. Jesse Bennett fires up a three from the corner off the back iron, no good, and Sarda has the rebound. Michaela Eisler into the game for the first time for SNU. As both Abby Nehus and Miriam Garcia currently out of the game with 3 fouls apiece. That last one, an offensive foul on Nehus that was dubious at best. Jones spinning around Gertson. She's sent to the foul or to the ground by Gertson. And that's the second on Gertson, and Jones will go to the line for 2 free throws. And Reed, Alexis Jones, the unquestioned leader of this team, really showed that in the end of the fourth quarter and overtime on Thursday night.
Yeah, she does a great job leading this team, and you can see she does it vocally, and she's just encouraging her teammates on the court, and they really go through her.
Jones splits the free throws. So the lead back to 6 for SNU. Free throws the rest of the way for both teams here in the quarter. It's both teams over the foul limit. And now an offensive foul called on Jakaya Clay for the illegal screen, as she was trying to free up Gertson. And Gertson going back and forth between the perimeter and the baseline. First foul on Clay this afternoon. Soap goes around the Eisler pick. Now finds Michaela. She'll dribble in, send it out to Gillette, but wave off the shot as the offensive foul is going on Eisler. That's her first and the 5th team foul on the Crimson Storm. Gertson gets it into Miller in the backcourt, and she'll bring it up against Sarda. Miller all the way to the elbow, nearly dragged her foot, Instead, Clay traveled on the skip and a hop on the jump stop. 8th turnover of the game for the Tigers. SNU sitting on 10. But at least 3 of those have been of the offensive foul variety. And make it 4 on 11 turnovers as Eisler is called for the moving screen. So not a great day for the SNU posts thus far, Reed.
The refs sure know where their whistles are, and they are not afraid to use them.
That's for sure. 11 fouls on the Crimson Storm, 10 on the Tigers. So 21 fouls here in the first half thus far. We still have 2:20 to play. Miller behind the Clay pick. Shut off there. Shuffles it over to Clay. She's bumped and fouled from behind. Foul's going to be on Sonia Sarda. That's her first. And Jakaya Clay to the line for 2 free throws. She's already 4 for 4 today, has 8 points and 3 rebounds. Hits the first, and one more coming. Clay goes 2 for 2. She's 6 for 6 from the line today. Came in just over 50%. Jones nearly slipped and fell, and Gertson tried to take advantage of it, but instead got caught for her 3rd foul. Eden Crow will check back in for Ouachita, and Gertson will check out. So Jones at the line for 2 free throws. Split her first pair, and she knocks down that one. Again, Tigers seemingly playing just 6 today, as Madison Rainey has not come off the bench yet. Jones goes 1 for 2, and Miller quickly over to the left wing. And a quick whistle there is going to be called on Alexis Jones. That's her first. And sends Eden Crow to the line for free throws. Jones pleading her case with the official, who's pretty emphatic on his decision there. It looked like the official put his whistle in his mouth just to prepare for a coach's warning or a technical, but opted not for it. Crow splits the pair, and Jones goes coast to coast and lays that one in. 30-second timeout called by Rob Dallimore as SNU back up by 6, 29-23. And Reed, any game like this always becomes kind of a sticky situation when you're not really sure what the official's going to call. It makes you play a little timid, doesn't it?
Yeah, it can be tough. It can get you out of your rhythm as a basketball player, and when you're just not sure if you can really do anything on the court without getting called for a foul. So we'll see how both teams adjust to this, and yeah, it's tough.
Tripp May has literally spent the entire 30-second timeout speaking with the officials. And as we come back to action here. So just for the foul situation, Garcia and Nihus each with 3, Eisler with 2 for SNU. Everybody else who's played but Schwacke has 1. 3 fouls each on Crow and Gertson, 2 fouls on Miller and Spradlin for the Tigers. We've had 24 fouls called in the first half. Crow, top of the key, guarded by Alexis Jones. Now Bennett probing against Soap. Brings it out to Miller. Spradlin calling for it inside. Miller doesn't throw it in. 5 on the shot clock. Miller rises from the foul line. Looked like Sarda got a piece of it. And Eisler with the rebound. Jones quickly the other way. Into traffic. Sends it back up top to Sarda. Eisler goes sprawled to the baseline. So, hands off to Sarda. Diving to the basket. Tried to shovel it over to Eisler and realized that was cut off. Her shot is no good. And Miller quickly back the other way as we have 50 seconds to go in the half. Clay trying to get it inside to Crow. Good job by Jones fronting her. Pass deflected in the backcourt. Bennett tracks it down. 12 on the shot clock. Miller with it, under 10. Clay, top of the key, guarded by Gillette. Crosses over on Gillette. Gives it to Spradlin. Miller has to fire up a 3 from the right wing. No good. Soap has the rebound. Sarda quickly the other way. Sends it up to Jones. Now in the corner to Soap. She'll go across the lane and is called for carrying it as it got caught a little high. Looked like she was about to take a big 2 Euro step there, but instead put the ball back on the ground. 12 turnovers on the Crimson Storm here in the first half. They had 18 in the first matchup between these two teams. A rough half all the way around. Crow holds with 5 seconds to go. Working on Jones, gets inside, runner off the glass, and it goes home as the buzzer sounds. So a frustrating end to a frustrating half for the Crimson Storm as they'll go to the locker room with the lead, but it's a very slight lead at that. 29-25 our score at halftime here in Bethany. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll have first half stats and analysis and get you ready for the second half of action between the Crimson Storm and the Tigers. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to halftime here in Bethany. SNU leading Ouachita 29-25 in what was not an aesthetically pleasing half. 24 fouls called. Ouachita just 33% from the field. Crimson Storm with 12 turnovers, 8 for the Tigers. And Reed, it's going to be one of those afternoons. It appears, at least from that first half, that you're probably just going to have to grind it out and just look at a win being a win.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think they can look at that one of two ways. They can be frustrated and continue to complain about it, or they can try to adjust and see what they can do offensively to change things up. But I think 12 turnovers for the Crimson Storm, they can look at that and see as a way that they can get better in that area and continue to take care of the ball.
It's been a balanced scoring attack from the Crimson Storm thus far. Sonia Sarda with 8 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and 3 steals in the first half, leading the way for SNU. 7 points for J.C. Soap, 2 for Kennedy Gillette, 4 for Miriam Garcia, 6 for Alexis Jones, and 2 for Abby Nihus off the bench. SNU shot 52% from the field. They were 2 for 4 from three-point range, but just 3 for 7 from the foul line. In Ouachita, 33% from the field. They were 1 for 5 from three-point range and 8 for 10 from the foul line. Jakaya Clay leading the way with 10 points, 8 points for Eden Crow, and 7 points for Maya Gertzen, and that's all the scoring thus far. Michaela Miller, Jesse Bennett, and Laura Spradling combining to go 0 for 8 in that first half. SNU with an 18-12 edge in points in the paint. 6-5, Ouachita leads in points off turnovers, and 4-0 in fast break points. SNU leads that one, and Reed, it's just one of those days where SNU, a lot of those turnovers, though, have come on offensive fouls, several of them moving screens. If you're a member of the SNU bunch, what do you need to do going forward? Obviously pay a little bit more attention to your screens. But does that take away from the aggression that you can play with on the offensive end a little bit?
Yeah, I think it may take a little bit away, but I think attention to detail is huge in halves like this, where maybe you need to take an extra second to make sure you're set for a screen or make sure that the defender's not in position to take a charge. So I think if they come out with that mentality, they'll win the game.
Second half of our doubleheader coming up at the conclusion of the women's game here. The SNU men looking to bounce back from an 84-78 loss to Ouachita Baptist back on January 2nd, and coming off a huge win on Thursday night against Henderson State. We talked to head coach Adam Bohodge earlier this week about the game against the Tigers, and here is our conversation with SNU head coach Adam Bohodge. Joined now with SNU head coach Adam Bohodge, talking about this afternoon's game against Ouachita Baptist. And Coach, last night was the first time you've been beaten kind of badly on the board since the last time you played Henderson State. From a coaching perspective, do you view rebounding as more of a skill or an effort thing?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question, Luke. It's probably both. Where some guys certainly have a knack for it or seem to always be able to get there, and maybe the skill of it is to have a really good set of hands and be able to grab it. But there's no question that effort trumps, the skill or the feel in rebounding. And, last night was a case where I thought Raekwon Rogers just completely dominated the backboards when the ball came off the rim. I mean, he was chasing it and grabbing it, well outside his area, and he played much harder and much more physical than we did inside.
Injuries obviously aren't ideal as you've dealt with this season, but is a payoff just being able to have some different lineups to throw out later in the season?
Yeah, maybe. It doesn't always feel like that, and offense is so rhythmic, and especially the way we want to play, and boy, sometimes it's hard to get that rhythm with different groupings out there because they all bring different strengths, and we're working through it, and it is a blessing. I think what Ty was able to do, save the day and won the game ultimately for us.
How do you go about experimenting with different lineups during the season?
Yeah, this year we don't have to tinker because it's just happened with the injuries and whatnot, and so the two constants have been out there for most every minute, and so that really solidifies it, and then just kind of trying to plug them other ones in and see how it best fits together.
Carlin Kenner going out with an injury early in the second half. If he's unable to play today, who would we expect to see a little bit more of?
Yeah, we're uncertain on what Carlin's status will be. It'll be another perimeter guy, and so Tyler certainly will be there, and Manny as well, and possibly Josiah Johnson a little bit.
First go-round against Ouachita, the Tigers scored on their last 16 possessions with primarily a smaller lineup on the floor. With Nick's development, do you think that gives you a stronger counter on both ends of the court this go-round?
Interesting question. We just didn't guard them well there at the end, Luke, and boy, they made some great plays, and we kind of looked stunned and took the punch and didn't ever get off the mat and punch back there the last 4 or 5 minutes of that ball game, and they spread us out and drove us and laid us in, and so we'll have to lead foot and stay in front of the ball better. I think Nick could maybe perhaps be a better presence at the rim than we have with some other folks out there. And so that could prove to be helpful today.
Your time here at SNU is intersected with Dennis Nutt's entire tenure at Ouachita Baptist, and you've always spoken very highly of him. What makes him such a good coach in this league?
Yeah, he's an awesome guy, Luke, and there's so many of those in this league, but he's a wonderful coach, and you just see his teams getting better and better and better all throughout the year. And then when you play them at the end or late like this, they're all the same. And I think that's the mark of really good coaching is there's a brand at Ouachita. If you show me someone who played at Ouachita for 4 years, I can tell you a lot about that person without ever knowing them. And that's a credit to Coach Nutt. And this club's no different. I mean, they're so much better now than when we played them early in January. It just leaps off the film at you, and they're tough and they're together, and they've been dealt a bad hand with a key injury as well, and it hasn't slowed them at all.
You guys win the game on Saturday against the Tigers if
we can keep them out of the paint. And control the basketball a little bit in terms of not letting them get all the way downhill and just break us defensively. I think that'll go a long ways to determining the game.
Thanks for your time today, Coach, and best of luck today against the Tigers.
Awesome. Thanks, Luke.
That's SNU head coach Adam Bohodge talking about the Crimson Storms matchup with Ouachita Baptist this afternoon. Again, that's coming up right after this here on Crossover Radio Sports and the SNU Athletics YouTube channel. Looking around the conference here on the women's side in the first half, these are halftime or early second half scores around the conference. Henderson State rebounding nicely against Oklahoma Baptist down the road, 56-30. That's just before halftime. Haley Estes, 18 points and 9 rebounds here in the first half. Third quarter action in Weatherford, it's Southwestern 38, Monticello 28. Kyra Tramble 13 points and 9 rebounds for the Bulldogs. Halfway through the third quarter in Durant, Southeastern with a 3-point lead on Arkansas Tech, now 5-point lead, 41-36. Katie Webb with 12 points, Kaylee Shipman 9 points for the Golden Suns. 3 minutes after halftime, it's Harding 30, East Central 29. Kendall Schulte 11 points for the Tigers, 9 points for Carissa Caples for Harding, who has won 5 straight games. And in Alva, just underway in the second half, it's Southern Arkansas 38 and Northwestern 35. Aaron Brinkley 12 points off the bench for the Mule Riders, 4 of 7 from 3-point range. And Bailey Brown 11.7 rebounds for the Rangers. read as we get set for the second half here. Obviously, foul trouble, something to keep an eye on both ways. Again, Eden Crow, Maya Gertson, Abby Nehus, and Miriam Garcia all with 3 fouls apiece. But obviously, SNU has the advantage in numbers. And at the end of the day, do you worry too much about the foul situation?
I think you got to let it go, and you just got to play smart. And I think if both teams do that, that's what they're going to want to do. But foul trouble, like you said, is an issue for both teams. For SNU, they don't want their post to get into foul trouble, and for Ouachita, really they can't afford for anyone to get into foul trouble. So it should be an interesting second half.
So it'll be Tigers basketball to start the third quarter. Luke McConnell, Reed Roloffs here with you at the Sawyer Center. SNU looking to win their 9th straight home game here on the women's side. Gertson behind the clay pig, steps around Garcia and goes in uncontested for the left-hand layup. A little bit of miscommunication there defensively as Gertson got down to the block, and right out of the gates, just a 2-point lead for SNU. Like we talked about on multiple occasions, the Tigers, a feisty team despite their lack of depth. Gillette drives baseline on Clay, blocked by Crow. She didn't get really any elevation on that shot, and Crow right down the middle of the lane, all the way to the basket, lays it up and in, and we're tied. Crow goes coast to coast, and no one stepped over to stop her, and we're tied at 29 here. Soap into the lane, shot is short, and a blocking foul going to be called on Miller, trying to step over and take the charge. And JC Soap will go to the line for 2 free throws. Abby Nehus checking in for Garcia. Garcia gonna have a quick chat with Coach Tripp May on the bench. First free throw's up and good for Soap. She went 1 for 2 at the line her first trip in the first half. And one more coming here for the sophomore. She knocks that one down. So SNU back on top, 31-29. A minute gone by, third quarter. Collision there is between Nehus and Clay as Clay goes down, but no foul called. Miller crosses over on Sarda, gets inside, throws it up, and a foul is going to be called. It's going to go on Sarda. That's going to be her second. First team foul on the Crimson Storm in the half, and Miller to the line for free throws. 54% from the foul line this season. Misses the first. She's still scoreless today. Has 2 steals, a rebound, and an assist as well. Splits the pair. So 31-30 our score. SNU with the lead. Jones working on Gertson on the left wing. Skip pass to Gillette. She posts up Nehus. Good double from Clay. Nehus, right-hand hook shot over Crow is short. Crow has the rebound. Ouachita can take the lead here with a basket. Bennett gives it to Miller on the baseline. She'll work it back up toward the top. Now Clay with it, top of the key. Driving kick, Miller, baseline, has it poked away by Sarda, but she recovers. That one's poked away by Nehus. Tried to save it, but stepped on the sideline going for it. 6 on the shot clock as the Tigers will inbound extended sideline here near the scorer's table. Miller gets it into Gertson. Tigers going to have to hurry. Gertson forces up the shot. It's off the mark, no good. And a foul's going to be called on Abby Nehus on the box out of Jakaya Clay. That's her 4th personal foul. And bails out the Tigers here, so a fresh 20 on the shot clock. Michaela Eisler will come in for Nehus. Second foul on the Storm here in the quarter. Miller gets in the corner to Clay. And now an offensive foul underneath is going to be called. This one on Crow. That's her fourth. And she's called for a hook down low. Second team foul on the Tigers. Still 31-30. Eisler gets free, left the shot short. Gillette tracks down the long rebound, gives it to Jones, left elbow. Soap pulls and pops from the foul line and gets it to roll home. J.C. Soap into double figures with 11. First player for SNU to jump up there and grab that distinction. And SNU leads by 3, 33-30 with 7.5 to go. Miller holding up top, 12 on the shot clock. She drives on Sarda, shut off nicely. Now Clay whips it down low to Gertzen. Jones deflected it, and then Eisler steps across and deflects that pass. Jones, turns the corner all the way to the layup. Too strong with the left hand. And Miller racing the other way, gives it over to Crow. Sarda, good defense there. Crow missed the shot, got the offensive rebound. Gertzen steps inside, 18-foot jumper's no good. Offensive rebound, Miller powers through Sarda, hit the underside of the rim with it, and Gillette has it. Great defense down low by Sarda. Now J.C. Soap, wide open left wing three, is off the mark, no good. Gillette, offensive rebound, and back up and in as she hangs in the air to put that one in. If this were 21, Reed, Ouachita would be down to 0 right now. Gertzen holding left wing against Jones. Goes behind the Clay pick. Now hits Bennett. She'll fire up a three-pointer and rattle it in from the right wing. Timeout, Robert Dallimore. And we'll stretch this out to a full timeout. 6:16 to go here in the third quarter. It's a 2-point game, 35-33. Crimson Storm still in the lead, but Ouachita hanging around. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to Bethany. SNU just a 2-point lead, 35-33 after that three-pointer by Jesse Bennett. The Tigers' second three-pointer of the afternoon and the first points of the game for Bennett. And the Tigers, Reed, continue to hang around, and SNU continues to help the cause a little bit. They've missed a couple tight ones here in the quarter, 2 of 7 from the field thus far to start.
Yeah, if you're Ouachita, you've got to love how this game is going. Besides the foul trouble, they've just held tight here, and they're just waiting for their chance to maybe jump ahead. But for SNU, they got to come out and play disciplined basketball.
Alexis Jones, top of the key against Gertzen. Soap gives it to Eisler, goes around Spradlin all the way to the basket and lays it in. Michaela Eisler with a beautiful post move on the baseline, taking advantage of Spradlin shading a little far inside. And Eisler with her first points of the season for the Crimson Storm. Clay traveled. Looked like she took steps. The official took a second to make the call. A big turnover there for SNU. 4-point lead for the Crimson Storm at 37-33. 5:37 to go in the third quarter. Gillette working on Clay, who's giving her a little bit of space. Sarda dumps it down low to Eisler again. Eisler across the lane, and she's fouled. No shot. Foul's going to be on Spradlin. That's going to be her third. SNU bench getting fired up as Eisler giving the Crimson Storm a boost of energy. Eden Crow back in with those 4 personal fouls. And you know, in other situations you'd call that a risk, but with basically 6 players, not much to do. Sarda dumps it down low to Eisler again. She faces up on Crow, gives it back in the corner to Sarda. 10 on the shot clock. Sarda cut off on the block. Fadeaway is good as it rattles around and in. And SNU back up by 6. SNU's biggest lead today has only been 8. Crow between the circles. Behind the clay pick. She'll pull and pop from the right elbow is no good. Gillette, the rebound. As Crow knocked down her teammate Bennett. SNU with numbers. 5-on-4 break. Sarda lobs baseline. Eisler powers around. Left-hand shot is no good. She stepped across clay. Not a great look there for Eisler. Miller driving kick. Gertson, she shuffled her feet and traveled. That'll take us to an official timeout on the court. 4:34 to go in the third quarter. 39-33. SNU with the lead. We'll be right back after this here on Crossover Radio Sports and the SNU Video Network. .434 to go in the third quarter. SNU with a 39-33 lead over Ouachita Baptist. The Crimson Storm buckling down a little bit defensively here after Ouachita forced a tie right out of the locker room at 29 apiece. Crimson Storm have extended that 4-point halftime lead by 2 at this point. And a couple of turnovers the last few possessions for the Tigers have given SNU good opportunities on the other end. Eisler looking for Jones on the back door cut. Pass a little bit high. Jones was well covered as well by Gertson, so a turnover for SNU. Their first of the third quarter. They've got 13 for the game. Miller gives it to Clay. Backdoor cut for Gertson, and this pass is wide and goes out of bounds. So 3 straight turnovers for the Tigers. And that's snuffing their attempts at a rally here. Jones between the circles. Now Sarda takes Miller baseline. Picks up her dribble, is cut off. Finds Gillette somehow. Now Jones finds Eisler. Foul line. Jumper is good. As it bounces off the rim, the backboard, the rim, and back in. Reed, it's definitely been iron kind for the Crimson Storm in this game.
It has. They've had a couple of those shots. Look like they're going to fall out, but hit the rim an extra couple times and knock in.
Pass from Miller is wide of Crow, and it goes out of bounds. 4 straight turnovers here for the Tigers. And certainly write this one down. SNU's on a 6-0 run over the last nearly 3 minutes. Aided in large part by those turnovers. Soap to the left wing. Now she drives on Bennett, hides behind the Eisler pick. Sarda, left elbow, kick out. Right wing, Gillette, 3-pointer, splash! Kennedy Gillette knocks down the 3-pointer. SNU bench happy as the Crimson Storm up by 11. First double-digit lead for SNU today. Miller tried to get it inside to Clay and overshot her once again. Spradlin checking back in for Miller. And Sarda will bring it up here for SNU. Now a 9-0 run for the Crimson Storm. Jones takes Bennett to the baseline, and she draws the foul. And SNU starting to flex their muscles a little bit. That's going to be the first foul on Bennett, fourth foul on the Tigers here in the quarter. So Jones to the line for free throws. She's 2 for 4 today. Shorted that one. One more coming for the junior from Burleson, Texas. And she missed them both. Free throws have been SNU's bugaboo all season long. They're 11th in the conference at 66%. Clay on the baseline gives it to Spradlin, who sends it back out to Bennett. Now Crow between the circles has Sarda on her, and looked like Clay was going to cut. Crow thought she was going to stand still, and that pass goes into the Ouachita bench. Tigers go back into the 2-3 zone. Sarda on the right wing with it. Now Soap. Chased out there by Clay. Sarda crossing over. Finds Gillette. Wide open three-pointer on the way is short. Jones batted the rebound in the air, and Eisler is the one who tracks it down. They swing it around the perimeter. Soap chased off the line, goes all the way in, and lays it in as she stepped around Spradlin. And then a foul after the shot called on Gertson.
It should give it SNU ball.
I looked away for a brief moment because it looked like Rob Dallimore was going to call timeout. I'm not even sure who the foul is on. I think they might have tagged Lex with it for a shove after the basket. But the officials are going to go to the monitor to check it out. So, officials talking to both head coaches at the moment. Rob Dallimore pleading his case on someone throwing an elbow or something to the official, and I think the official is running through the criteria for a flagrant or technical or both. But Reed, a massive run here for SNU, 11-0 over the last 4 minutes and change, and it's really been aided in large part on the defensive end. 5 or 6 straight possessions for the Tigers, ending in a turnover.
Yeah, if you're SNU, it's exactly what you want to see coming out of the half. You know, it's been a difficult first half for many reasons, including fouls, but they did a great job of applying pressure defensively without fouling here in the third quarter, and that's exactly what you want to do.
SNU 7 of 14 from the field here in the third quarter. They're 51.4% for the game and have turned 16 turnovers into 14 points. Just 6 points off turnover for the Tigers on those 13 SNU turnovers. And again, Reed, on the flip side of those turnovers is SNU has done a great job taking care of the ball here in the third quarter, just 1 here in the period.
Yeah, they've got great looks offensively, and they've been moving the ball around. And they've got a great added minutes from Eisler, who's done a great job of making a few buckets and rebounding the ball well.
So officials giving the head coaches the explanation. This is the one downside to being up on the second level for our broadcast position. So foul after the basket on Alexis Jones. It'll be her second. Just a common foul. And that's the third team foul in the Crimson Storm. Under 2 minutes to go, third quarter. SNU leads 46-33 in the midst of an 11-0 run. Crow on the left wing. Probing against Jones. Now dribbles back out to the top of the key. Jones swiping at it. Crow forced to pick up her dribble. Gertzen between the legs against Sarda. Behind the clay pick. She'll pull up and pop for three. Missed the shot. Crow offensive rebound. Missed it. And rebound fought for. Clay has it. And that one's ripped away by Sarda. It'll go out of bounds off Sarda. It'll stay Ouachita ball with 18 on the shot clock. Jones doing a nice job defensively on Crow, but a little bit of a disadvantage on the boards. Crow, foul line, drives in on Jones. Off the iron, no good. Dallimore looking for a foul there, but Soap coming the other way with it. Sarda directing traffic up top. Gets it back from Gillette. She calls out the play. Drives baseline on Gertzen, shut down. Now back to the wing to Soap. Trying to create some space on Bennett. She'll pull back for three. Missed it. And Clay has the rebound for the Tigers. There's Tripp May looking for foul call from the official there. Does not get it. Clay crosses over on Gillette, but Gillette poked it away. 1-on-2. Euro steps around Bennett. Missed the layup short. And Clay has another rebound. Nice move by Gillette. Everything but the finish. Gertzen on the other end. Shows you how it's done as she Euro steps around Eisler and lays it home to snap the 11-0 drought. Under 30 seconds to play in the quarter. SNU up by 11, 46-35. A 3-second difference game to shot clock. Sarda makes her move with 10 on the clock. Gillette, she'll pull the trigger on a right wing three. It's off to the left, no good. And Crow has the rebound. 3 on the clock as she pushes up. Half court heave up ahead to Clay, but knocked away by Sarda as the buzzer sounds. And that's how the third quarter comes to an end. SNU seizes a bit of momentum in that quarter with an 11-0 run, and they will go to the fourth quarter leading 46-35. We'll be right back after this here on Crossover Radio Sports and the SNU Video Network. Welcome back to Bethany. The start of the fourth quarter taking place right now as SNU leads 46-35 over the Tigers of Ouachita Baptist. Luke McConnell and Reed Roloffs here, and Reed, SNU finally found some rhythm offensively, but did it mainly on the defensive end in that quarter.
Yeah, they did. They forced a lot of turnovers from Ouachita Baptist, and on offense found great shots, and they were able to not turn the ball over as much. So a great third quarter for SNU.
J.C. Soap with it on the left wing, guarded by Jesse Bennett, who's been right with her the whole game. Sarda cut off on the baseline now by Bennett. Dumps it in low to Garcia, lost it, shovels it over to Alexis Jones, who puts it in for two. Great job by Garcia recovering from the fumble. And Jones puts it in for two. She's got 8. Gertzen, left wing now. Crow, top of the key. Garcia gives her plenty of space. Gertzen, long 2 on the way, is off to the right, and Soap with the rebound, her third. Sarda quickly the other way. Leaves it to a wide open J.C. Soap. Three on the way. Splash! J.C. Soap with her third three-pointer of the game. She's got 16. And the Crimson Storm lead by 16, 51-35. Bennett up top behind the Crow pick. Slicing and dicing into the lane. Finds Gertson in the corner. Long two on the way is no good. And Sarda has the miss. SNU off and running again. Gillette blows by Clay. Floater over Crow is good. And Kennedy Gillette with 9. And SNU with 7 quick points. A minute and a half gone by in the quarter. Miller forcing the action is tripped up and fouled. See who they're going to give the foul to. It's going to be on Sarda. That's going to be number 3. And Schwacke checking in for Kennedy Gillette. First team foul on the Crimson Storm here in the quarter. Again, the third on Sonia Sarda. Clay diving to the basket on the inbounds pass, and she puts that in for 2. Clay's been fantastic today. 12 points and 8 rebounds. Jones, cross-court skip pass to Soap. Run off the line by Gertson. Steps inside for the 15-footer, and she knocked it down. J.C. Soap not settling for the outside jumper today. Miller all the way back the other way, and another foul going to be called on Sarda as Miller plowed right into her. That's going to be now the 4th foul on Sonia Sarda, and Nefer Leon quickly off the bench for SNU to replace her fellow Spaniard. So Michaela Miller at the line for 2 free throws. She's 1 for 2 today. That 1 free throw, her only point today as well. Long on the first one. Leon had a great showing against Henderson State. 4 points, 3 rebounds in 10 minutes. It was her first real game action since the November 23rd game, or 21st game against Northwestern, when she scored 10 points in 10 minutes. Soap dumps it down low to Garcia, all the way to the bucket. High off the glass and good. Miriam Garcia came out very early in the third quarter and did not return. She's got 6 to go along with 4 rebounds and 3 assists. And now an offensive foul coming up on the Tigers. It's going to go on Clay, clearing out Alexis Jones. Second foul on Jakaya Clay. And Spradlin will come off the bench for Clay. First foul on the Tigers here in the period. SNU leads by 20, 57-37. Soap, again, run off the line. Garcia tried to find the cutting Schwacke, but ball got caught on the hip of Spradlin. Miller quickly the other way, blocked at the rim by Garcia, and Leon grabs it along the baseline. Quickly the other way, 4-on-1 break. Nifty pass to Soap, and she finishes over Gertson. SNU out and running now. 59-37, and just like that, SNU has completely taken control of this game. It's a 24-4 run over the last 9 minutes of game action. Leon ties up Crow down low, and that's going to be a jump ball. Possession arrow will keep it with the Tigers with 10 seconds on the shot clock. Miller inbounding on the baseline. Sends it up top to Crow. Now Gertson on the right wing. 5 on the shot clock. She's going to have to hurry. Drives, pulls up and pops from 10. Missed it, and Schwacke grabs the rebound. Reed, this game's taken a completely different tenor since it was tied at 29 early in the third quarter. Pass goes awry there, and Miller on the fast break all the way to the basket, and she lays it up and in. 59-39, and it's Reed, it's easy to forget. Ouachita scored the first 4 points out of the locker room to tie the score at 29, It looked like SNU was in for a long half. They've responded nicely.
Yeah, they sure have. They've had a massive run here through the third quarter and into the fourth, and resulting in a 20-point lead.
Jones with the miss, but Garcia forces the rebound out of bounds off Eden Crow. So it'll be SNU basketball with a fresh 20 on the shot clock. Clay checking back in for Spradlin. And the Tigers have played just 6 today. Madison Britton has been out with an injury for a few weeks now, and Madison Rainey has been on the bench today, but she has not played at all. Not sure her status, but I would have to imagine that she's going through some sort of injury as well. Leon cut off on the baseline. Gives it up to Garcia. Garcia steps around Clay, missed it with the left hand. Jones in amongst the trees for the offensive rebound. Missed the shot. Garcia saves it, but to Clay. Gertzen along the right wing. Blows by Leon all the way to the basket, lays it up and in. Leon will bring it across the timeline for the Crimson Storm. 5:40 to play. SNU up 18. Leon shovels over to Garcia after she got past Miller. And another layup for Miriam Garcia. She's got 8. The lead back to 20. Crow drives baseline, gets past Schwacke and lays it in. Tripp May not pleased with that one. It's had quite a few blow-bys at this point here in the fourth quarter. Kennedy Gillette will check back in for Julia Schwacke. 23 on the shot clock as SNU will inbound on the baseline. Leon finds Gillette, gets right around Clay, and lays it in at the rim for 2. Gillette into double figures with 11. Miller again blows by Leon. She'll go to the line for 2. First foul on Leon, and Miller back to the line for 2 free throws. And Gillette. Bit of blood or something, it looks like. She runs down to the bench. The official now finally hands the ball to Miller. Miller's first free throw is good, and one more coming. So it's Gillette, Leon, Soap, Jones, and Garcia out there right now for SNU. 63-44 our score. Make it 63-45 with 5 minutes to play. Jones brings it across the timeline. Now Leon on the left wing. Goes behind the Gillette pick. Miller switches onto her. Gillette finds Garcia. Spinning, spinning. Oh, nice move. And she got the shot to die on the back rim before it fell in. Wish some of my wedge shots would do that. Eden Crow off the glass, too strong. Clay goes over the back of Leon to knock the ball out of bounds, and that'll take us to a timeout on the court. Our final media timeout here in Bethany, 4:32 to play. SNU firmly in control now, 65-45. We'll be back with the conclusion of this one right after this here on the SNU Video and Radio Networks. Welcome back to Bethany. SNU leading by 20, 65-45 with 6.5 minutes to play here at the Sawyer Center. Taking a look around the conference real quick. 2 minutes to play in Ada. It's Harding 54, East Central 53. Harding basketball actually with 1:38 to go. Down in Durant, 11 seconds to play. It's the Golden Suns of Arkansas Tech on top of Southeastern 68-62. So the Golden Suns looking to force a tie for first place on the women's side. And it could be a four-way tie for first if Harding is able to hang on against the Tigers. So exciting times, just kind of like what we thought would happen this year on the women's side. J.C. Soap in the lane all the way to the basket, missed the shot, and Clay has the rebound. And that pass intercepted by Leon, and she'll wait on some friends to come down and help her out. But great anticipation by Leon as she doubled back and intercepted the outlet pass from Clay. So gives to Eisler all the way to the basket, and a blocking foul on Miller, and Eisler gets it to go. Michaela Eisler surrounded by her teammates after that one. The blocking foul on Miller is her fourth. Second team foul on the Tigers. And Reed, always fun to see the seniors who, or any player along the bench that doesn't get to play a lot normally, get in there and make some things happen. Eisler now with 6 points today and looking to make it 7 with this free throw.
Yeah, really great game for her. She provided a boost off the bench when coming into the game. She may not have thought she might have played a whole ton of minutes, but foul trouble has led to that, and she's had a great game so far.
So 7 points off the bench for Michaela. Miller holding between the circles, looking for some help. Shot clock's down to 10. Crow working on Eisler. Moves her feet well to shut off the baseline drive. 20-foot jumper on the way from Miller is good. She rattles that one in. Reed Miller, an impressive player, just a freshman, and she's been quite aggressive today, controlling the offense for the Tigers as she pokes that one away from Leon out of bounds. Again, like we talked about in pregame, these Tigers individually, pretty much all of them are people you'd want on your team. And just collectively, it's just hard to gain some traction with only 6 or 7 healthy players at a time.
Yeah, they've got some impressive players, but like you said, it can be tough when you don't got a whole lot of depth, when you're playing teams that rotate 10, potentially 11 players, and when you typically only have 7, it can be hard.
Leon behind the Gillette pick, shut off by Crow. Gives it back to Gillette. Now Leon, 5 on the shot clock, forced up a three-pointer. She airballed it and knew it as soon as she shot it. Gillette gets the offensive rebound and forces it up and in as the shot clock expires. Kennedy Gillette with a huge bounce-back game herself, 13 points after going scoreless on Thursday night. SNU leads 70-47, 2:40 to play. Irene Perez and Cassandra Awatt in the game right now, and Gillette pokes that one away from Clay. Gillette waits on traffic to clear and gives it up to Leon. Now Awatt, right wing, guarded by Gertzen, goes behind the Gillette pick. Gillette finds a wide open Perez down low, and that pass now out to Awatt. Leon will fire up a 3 from the corner, another air ball, and Gillette another offensive rebound and another lay-in. Substitution timeout for SNU. As Gillette comes out and Addison Foster into the game for the first time tonight. So Kennedy Gillette, 15 points, 7 rebounds for her today. J.C. Soap leading the way with 20. Garcia with 10 and Sonia Sarda with 10. It's been a team effort offensively for the Crimson Storm today as they're at 53%. Crow steps through on Foster and is going to be fouled by Eisler. That'll be her third foul. Fourth team foul on the Storm with 1:57 to play. And Reed, as the Crimson Storm go on the road for 5 of the next 6. It's going to be tough sledding, but This is a team that is built to win in this conference, defense first, and they have plenty of playmakers on offense to get the job done as well.
Yeah, when you go on the road for a long series like they are, it kind of shows you who you are as a team. So this upcoming stretch will be huge for determining where they finish in the regular season.
Crow goes 2 for 2 at the line, making the deficit 23. Awatt working baseline against Gertson, crabs out to a 15-foot jumper, missed it short. That's Spradlin with the rebound. Miller holding up top. Now Miller with it baseline. Oh, got Leon in the air on a hesitation move. Lost the basketball going up, and Perez coming the other way with it. Leon with it between the circles. Trying to create some space on Bennett. Crossover. Gets free at the second block. Left that one short. Spradlin the rebound. She gives it up to Miller. So we're down to a minute to play here in Bethany. Crimson Storm going to run their record to 13-5, 10-4 in conference play. 9 straight wins here at the Sawyer Center. And officially, as soon as this one goes final, they'll be in a tie for first place in the conference. Crow from the right elbow splashes that one home with 41 seconds to play. It has gone final in Durant. Arkansas Tech 70, Southeastern 62. Harding still up by 2 with 38 seconds to play in Ada. They're looking to get in on the party at the top. Foster drives, kicks. Leon retrieves. Cross-court skip pass to Perez. 8 on the shot clock. She finds Leon. Leon will fire up a three-pointer. That one's good as she screams out, finally. 75-51, 10 seconds to play. And all over but the shouting here as Miller will dribble this one out, pull up for 3 at the top of the key, rims out. Leon the rebound, and the Crimson Storm with another perfect homestand and their 9th straight win here in Bethany. Reed was a little hairy there in the first half, a little uneven for a variety of reasons, but the Crimson Storm in the second half righted the ship. Just 3 turnovers after halftime, and they used an 11-0 run coupled with 6 straight turnovers for the Tigers to build a 13-point lead and really put this one away in the second half.
Yeah, they did a great job of coming out in the second half, and they knew what they needed to change in the first half, turnovers-wise, and really foul difficulties, and they came out looking like they were the better team and resulted in a big win for SNU.
Crimson Storm go 52.5% from the field today. 5 of 13 from three-point range. And 6 of 12 from the foul line. And watching the team leave the tunnel, we're about to be inundated by the entire team for talking with Michaela Eisler after her 7-point performance off the bench today. So, Reed, if you don't want to get run over, you might need to vacate the premises here. It's about to get crazy. But Ouachita Baptist, 37.5% from the field, 2 of 8 from three-point range, and 72% from the foul line. SNU wins the rebounding battle 33-29. Took care of points in the paint, 44. Again, that's the 3rd straight game for SNU with 44 or more points in the paint. And Reed, again, three-pointers, not necessarily the focus, and SNU hasn't attempted a ton all season long, but especially these last 4 games, 5 or fewer three-point makes, but again, they've been doing it in the paint.
Yeah, I think they know who they are as a team, and when you want to get the ball inside, they've done a great job with that, so they stick to who they are, and they've had success with it.
J.C. Soap leading the way for SNU today, 20 points on 7 of 12 shooting. She knocked down 3 of the 5 three-pointers. 15 points for Kennedy Gillette, 10 each for Miriam Garcia and Sonia Sarda. 8 points for Alexis Jones, 7 for Michaela Eisler, 2 points for Abby Nehus, and 3 points for Nefer Leon to go along with 3 assists in those 8 minutes. 16 points for Eden Crow led the way for Ouachita, 13 points for Maya Gertson, 12 for Jakaya Clay, 7 for Michaela Miller, and 3 points for Jessie Bennett. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be joined by senior Michaela Eisler and get her thoughts on today's game. Again, the final score from Bethany, 75-51. The Crimson Storm win this over Ouachita Baptist. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to the Sawyer Center. SNU 75-51 winners over Ouachita Baptist today, and we are joined by senior Michaela Eisler and the entire team. I think they're a little excited for you
yeah,
here.
they are.
Michaela, you've obviously been part of the program for a long time. What was it like to get out there today and contribute in a big way in meaningful minutes?
It was fun. It was great. I've been waiting a long time, and I'm just ready. I just was happy to contribute for my team and just do what I need to do.
Were you a little nervous getting in there? I mean, Abby and Mimi both picking up fouls with abnormal regularity. A little bit of a tight whistle there in that first half. Did that make you a little bit nervous going in there?
No, I was prepared for it. I knew if they both had 2 fouls, I was ready to go in. So I wasn't that nervous. A little, but not a lot.
What's your career been like here in Bethany? We haven't seen you a lot in meaningful minutes over the course of your career, but you've always been there, always working hard. What's it like maintaining that next woman up mentality?
I just think it gives me confidence. I've also built really great relationships with everybody on the team and the coaches, and I've just been prepared for this, so whenever it is my time, I can just go in and contribute. How
much fun has this season been for you guys in particular, as you have run out to a 13-5 record this year? You're now 10-4 in conference, and officially, let me be the first to tell you, officially in a tie for first place in conference, as Southeastern lost earlier today. But what's the season been like for you guys?
This season, I think this has been the funnest season for me with this team. We're just like a close unit, and I just think we work hard every day, and we make each other better, and we have a lot of energy.
Defense has kind of been the calling card for you guys today, and that third quarter was when y'all really locked in. 6 straight turnovers forced against the Tigers as you were able to take a 13-point lead there in the quarter. What was the message at halftime, and how you guys came out in the third quarter and really locked in?
That we just needed energy and passion, and we can beat teams by a lot as long as we play defense and work on offense. So.
You guys are on the road for 5 of the next 6. Obviously, you've been around the conference a little while. What's it like with life on the road, and how tough can it be to play on the road here in this conference?
You never know what you're going to get every night, especially in conference. It's different every night. Some teams come and play, sometimes they don't play at all. So it's going to be tough, but we'll work for it.
Michaela, congratulations on a great game today, and thank you very much for your time. And
thank you.
We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be joined by SNU head coach Tripp May to get his thoughts on today's win over Ouachita Baptist. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to the Sawyer Center, joined now by SNU head coach Tripp May. And Coach, seems like that or why you got into coaching, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, that is exactly why. It's exactly why.
Probably should have just moved the backdrop and had them behind us the whole time there, shouldn't we?
Man, that's fun. You know, sometimes there are just some really special moments that you just can't overlook. And you know, in the world of athletics and sports, and so many times there's, like obviously this last week with the tragedy of Kobe Bryant and all the, the people that are involved in that crash, and, and it's there's also great stories all over the globe, and when it comes to just team dynamics and different things, and, Makayla Isler, she's a senior, hadn't played a lot, hardly played at all. Post got in foul trouble. We have another post that's injured, another post that has mono. And Kai is just, she's just there, and she just was super available today, obviously, and did a fantastic job. Really gave us a big spark in that third quarter, and that's part about being ready. And she did a lot of the things that we needed, that we're teaching that weren't happening with other players today. And so for her to come off the bench and to spark some really good moments, and really give us some good added depth today that we really needed because of foul trouble, and it's just awesome how the girls just celebrate her. And, I was waiting for them to come back in the locker room, and they weren't coming. They're staying up here. They're staying up here for their teammate and just, and really showing the love and the appreciation for who she is and what she just offered our team. She offered our team a lot every day, but, the production that she gave us on the court today and the big spark and, in a tight game, early in the third quarter, that was huge. And so I'm super proud of her. And that's just the story. It's like, hey, there are moments out there for you. Sometimes you got to wait for them for a long time, and sometimes they're at your fingertips. But she sees hers today, and it was super important to our program, and it was super neat to watch the girls really come together, for her.
How much different is it for a senior to be doing that and doing the things that she does every day? Obviously freshmen come in and maybe have a harder time cracking the pecking order, but for a senior to stick around as long as she has and always grinding every single day, it speaks volumes.
It does. You as a coach right now, I'm super thankful for her. That's a great picture of going. She never complains. She's not asking for this. She's not. There's no blaming. She's not the victim. She just goes about her work. And then today it's the same thing. She just go. She just okay. I'm ready, and goes out there and does her best. For what we needed today. And it's just that's another example of just going. Hey, what a teachable moment of just again, Victor's mindset only. There was nothing else about that, and the production helped us big time. But the fact that she put herself in that position to be ready, that's mental toughness in itself. Because there's a lot of those players that could check out after not playing for long games and many games and many years, and then here you are, like you said, as a senior, you're thrust in that and every game in conference is big, so it's an absolutely big game. Be thrust in that environment and to show up and to do well and really added a big exclamation point for our team today.
You guys had to find some mental toughness as a team in a weird first half, but really locked in that third quarter, 11-0 run, forced 6 straight turnovers to take a 13-point lead. What was the message at halftime from you?
Well, I think the message was basically to myself, and that we played 40 minutes and you want it done in 20. Who doesn't?
Yeah.
My thing is with the way our mental game and the way we're actually playing that first half, sometimes that can be contagious, and that can turn around and start, that can carry over, and the next thing you know, you're in a tight ball game, and all that does is just continue to give the other team confidence. And so if we didn't lock in and really address some things at halftime, we knew we could be in for a dogfight, and even the first few minutes of the third quarter didn't go well. I think, did they ever get the lead?
They never got the lead.
They tied it up.
At
they
29.
tied it up. But, it's funny, you think 29, it seems like a long time ago, but that was very relevant in the third quarter. Mm-hmm. So, again, it was a good wake-up call for our girls at half. It was just, something that, we knew they could do. We just wanted, as a coach, you want to play 40 minutes. And before the game, I talked about let's continue to build really good habits. Let's do the things. Let's get really, really good at what we're doing, because that builds momentum for, the next 4 weeks of conference. And so I was hoping that we would come out and we'd have that fire and we would really, start doing things really well and have that confidence. And it took us, 27 minutes later for us to, start finding in our identity again. So, but again, good reminder for coaches, you play 40 minutes.
Absolutely.
You play 40 minutes. And so the world isn't ending into halftime like we think it is.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You've got 5 of the next 6 on the road. Always tough in conference play, especially tough this year with how top-heavy the league is. What are the next couple weeks how big is that for you? And you're going to find out a lot about your team in the next 3 weeks.
We really will. And I think you got to have that perspective of going. It's that one game of mind mentality. Let's go 1-0 on Thursday. And then whether it goes our way or it doesn't go our way, I mean, it's a short memory because you got to turn around another tough game on Saturday, and so it will be. It'll just remind our girls about hey, we're really capable basketball team. We're really good when we put the things that we've been teaching and the things and our training together. You parlay those, and we're a really good team. And when we don't, when we kind of pick and choose what we want to do, we're really in for a dogfight if we do that. So. But proud of our girls for today because, again, winning a conference, it's a big deal, undefeated at home still. So, thankful for bright spots and players who are now, it's a reminder going, hey, be ready. You never know when your time's going to come. So, really neat day for her and another good win for our team.
Absolutely. Coach, congratulations on the win, and we'll get things wrapped up here. When we come back, we'll get you set up for the men's game against Ouachita Baptist right after this on the SNU Video Network.
Thanks, Luke.